is game one of a three-game series against the division rival Texas Rangers. And the Halos have played much better baseball, coming off a 6-3 homestand. Although they still find themselves 5 back of the Houston Astros in the American League West, the Rangers have played better baseball of late. They find themselves 5.5 back. As we welcome inside Globe Live Park and back to Angels baseball here on Fox Sports West, along with Mark Gubiza. I'm Victor Rojas. And the Angels did get some good news today as far as Albert Pujols is concerned. The reigning now American League Player of the Month for June had a fantastic month for the head.
Yeah, Victor, the first time wearing that Angel uniform for Albert Pujols. He crushed the baseball. So many important home runs and RBI during that stretch in the month of June. Batting average over 300, 26 RBI, 13 big fly for Albert. Mentioned that first time ever in an Angel uniform winning. He's won it 9 times, but first as an Angel for Albert Pujols.
Well, I mentioned the Angels are starting a first of 3 here tonight against the Texas Rangers, and over the last pretty much season and a half, the Angels have played much better baseball against Texas.
Yeah, when you think about how difficult this place was in the past, but to scoring a lot of runs. We have won 11 of 13 games against Texas in the last 2 seasons, averaging nearly 7 runs a game. They pitched very well against Texas also, but the big thing that jumps out at me, what they have done with runners in scoring position. Little different team for Texas with Josh Hamilton playing left field for Texas. He has power, a couple home runs this year, so they'll have to worry about him and the rest of this lineup, which is very difficult to deal with in this ballpark.
The Angels will send Garrett Richards to the mound, who's thrown the ball much better of late. As we're just about ready for baseball here in Texas, sit back and relax. Lineups and first pitch when we return. Angels baseball is brought to you by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. CarMax, start here. By Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers. to Texas out of this 3-game series. Hope you're enjoying the beginning of your 4th of July weekend, and glad you could join us for Angels baseball. The Halos, after the loss a couple of days ago against the New York Yankees, had an off day yesterday. They spent it here in North Texas and now begin this 9-game road trip, the last trip prior to the All-Star break. 3 here, 2 in Denver after an off day on Monday, and then 4 against the Seattle Mariners. The Angels 5 back, as we pointed out, with a 41-38 record. And on the road, they have struggled. 16-20 away from the Big A. Texas, on the other hand, they arrived late last night, about 3:30 in the morning, after playing the Baltimore Orioles and winning that game. They are 41-39. They've played okay at home. They are 4 games under 500 here at home. And against the division, Gooby, I mean, it's really stands out just considering their overall record and the way they started. They're just 11-20 against the West.
Remember just a few years ago when they were the champs in this division, they just dominated the AL West. This is a fantastic record. It has not been the case the last couple of years for the Rangers.
Texas taking the field, and we will check out Mike Scioscia's starting lineup for the Halos. Game number 80 on the season. Johnny Giovazella back in that leadoff spot. Then you've got Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols. And for a little while earlier this afternoon, we thought that Pujols was going to DH, but he's at first base. Ibar, Freese, and Joyce with Matt playing left field. C.J. Cron serving as a DH tonight. And Carlos Perez gets a start. He will be behind the plate. They're taking on the 23-year-old right-hander out of Boca Raton, Florida. His name is Alex Chichi Gonzalez.
Yeah, Chichi Gonzalez fastball. Use a 2-seam fastball, 90-94 range. We'll throw a 4-seamer, can touch 95-96. Cut fastball, slider, curve, and changeup. My keys to be successful. Use that jet stream. Hit that ball out to right, the right center field. See if he gets some big flies at outer half of the plate. A lot of pitches away, especially his cutter and fastball out over the plate. That's when you got to try to drive it and utilize that jet stream.
Check out the Rangers defensively tonight. Hamilton, Martin, and Chu in the outfield from left to right. The infield has Beltre, Andrews, Odor, and Moreland from third to first. And Robinson Chirinos behind the plate.
And Odor back, playing very well, at least offensively for the Rangers. Has committed 6 errors at second base this year, his 39th start. Has turned 31 double plays. He has an error in each of his last 2 games at second base.
Odor was the guy that just started the season on the opening day roster, the opening day second baseman for Texas. Got optioned down, and maybe a little bit of a wake-up call for him because he has been red hot since rejoining this Rangers ball club. Offensively, Texas is a little bit better numbers across the board from the Angels, and considering the Angels have struggled all season long, but they come into this one with 10th in the American League in batting average, 5th in home runs, 6th in runs scored, and they are currently 8th in on-base percentage. The Angels, well, we've documented the Angels' struggles, but they are coming off a nice homestand. They won 3 consecutive series, 6-3, yet the offense continues to kind of sputter along, scoring just enough runs. Really credit the pitching staff, the starters, and as well as that bullpen, because of so many tight games, for getting the Angels to a 6-3 mark on that homestand.
And what we've seen, though, from Mike Scioscia's club, when they have struggled offensively, they have to come down to this ballpark, and all of a sudden they've got their swings back. We talked and showed that in the opening. 11-2 in the last 13 here, averaging nearly 7 runs a game.
First one tonight is a fastball missing in for ball 1. Johnny Giovazella hitting .267, 3 home runs, 27 runs batted in. 2-hit game on Wednesday against New York. A couple of singles. That is ripped out toward left center field. Hamilton moves over, makes the catch, and there's the first down of the ball game.
And the Hyundai key for this game for the Angels to be successful. Little Kim Chesney, don't blink. When you get that opportunity to drive a pitch, whether it's a fastball or even a break ball early in the count, you just jump on it. Don't miss those opportunities. We saw that even though they had a successful win-loss homestand, they missed some opportunities on some pitches that they could do some damage to.
Gonzalez's first one to Cole Calhoun misses upstairs. Cole had an 0-for-4 game on Wednesday. .258 average, 7 home runs and 36 runs batted in.
Cole likes hitting in this ballpark. .319 batting average with 3 home runs.
Pulled down, line foul. Oh, nice play off the wall. Played the carom perfectly.
Home field advantage. Big smile.
1 ball, 1 strike on Calhoun.
This was playable for Moreland. Reaching for that one, trying to pull it, and there are 2 outs. Chichi Gonzalez making his 7th big league start. He will face Mike Trout here with 2 outs, the bases clear. Gonzalez 2-3 with a 2.59 ERA. 14 strikeouts, 17 walks, and 41 2/3 innings. He's allowed 30 hits. First round pick, 23rd overall back in 2013 out of Oral Roberts University.
Last couple starts for him, and not as successful. 0-2, 11 2/3, 9 earned runs for Gonzalez.
Trout at 303 with 21 home runs and 44 runs batted in. Takes down and away. Tim Timmons calling the balls and strikes tonight. Todd Titchener at first. Tim Welke at second. He's the crew chief. Mike Everett at third, the umpiring crew for this series. This one's ripped to left, and that's a single. 2-out knock for Trout will give Pujols an opportunity to bat here.
And that was a pitch down in the strike zone, and Trout did a nice job of getting that bat head out quickly. A 92-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball. Wanted it inside, a little bit too much to the plate, but anything down near the strike zone is going to be hit hard by Trout. And that was, again, a .344 career hitter in this yard. Continues to swing the bat well.
Albert, the American League Player of the Month. They're hitting .303 with 13 home runs and 26 runs batted in. Albert at 263 overall and 544 career home runs. Good lead for Trout at first base. Albert takes low. Trout with 9 stolen bases on the year, has been caught 4 times. Big hole on the right side. Pujols fouls that one straight back into Robinson Chirinos. Knocked him down.
He had a great swing at that 2-0 pitch. Pretty much right down the heart of the plate. Fouled straight back. It's Chirinos, who's done a very good job defensively and offensively for the Rangers.
Two balls and a strike. 2 outs. Mike first base with a single. And Topper up the third base line. Beltre will pick it up in foul territory.
A lot of fastballs early on for Gonzalez. Well, you would think this is an opportunity for him to throw a slider. A pretty good slider and curveball. Decent changeup too.
Expecting big crowds all weekend long here. 3 different start times. All 3 night games, however. Drop back easily.
So far, Gonzalez has allowed 1 stolen base, 1 attempt, no pickoffs so far. Torino is very good as far as throwing out would-be base throws. A little bit down this year as compared to last year. A little over 22% so far this year.
2-2. Albert Grounds this one to Beltre. He will go across the diamond. Throw out Pujols. The Angels are done here in the first. Well, to the bottom of the first. Garrett Richards taking the mound. No score. Fantasy starting lineup for the Texas Rangers. Rougned Odor leading things off at second base. Mitch Moreland swinging the bat well, including the long ball. He's at first base. And you've got Prince Fielder at DH, Adrian Beltre at third, Josh Hamilton in left, Shin-Soo Choo at right, Elvis Andrus the shortstop, Leonis Martin the center fielder, and Robinson Chirinos rounding out that starting nine. He is the catcher as they take on Garrett Richards, making his 15th start of the season. 8-5 with a 3.54 ERA.
Yeah, the big thing for Garrett with that power fastball is utilize that fastball a little bit more. ERA 3.54 for Richards. He's thrown the ball well in his career versus the Rangers, but I think for me today, the go-tos, look at the percentages of pitches he's thrown this year. There's 56% of his pitches fastballs, 44% slider curve. Both of those pitches have been very good to slider and curve, but his fastball, power fastball, cutter have been excellent too. Get back to using that a little bit more, get some quicker outs and get deeper in games.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the game, about the fastball command, especially early on for him, wasn't quite there, and he was really relying on the breaking ball to get him back into counts.
Yeah, I think he's got it. I mean, I had a conversation with him not too long ago. Mainly believe in that fastball, use the middle of the plate and trust movement.
First one tonight in there for a strike. Rougned Odor, the second baseman. Overall batting average of 234, 3 home runs and 19 RBIs, but he has been on a tear since being called back up. Behind the count here at 0-2. Odor option down to AAA on May the 11th. Came back up on June 15th, and since then he's hit .392 with a .448 on base percentage. Takes that one low, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I really like that target that Carlos Perez was setting there for Richards. Keeping that pitch, he wanted that. You know it was going to be a breaking ball, so he wanted that pitch down, give him a low target. That way, if you miss, it's going to be in the dirt like he did. And sometimes you'll even get a hitter to swing and miss that pitch in the dirt.
Foul tipped into the mid. Perez hangs on to it. And there's the first out of the bottom of the first inning. Defensively for the Angels, Matt Joyce, Mike Trout, and Cole Calhoun in the outfield from left to right. The infield has David Freese, Eric Aybar, Johnny Giavotella, and Albert Pujols from third to first with Perez behind the plate.
Even though Richards is the guy to get some strikeouts, he's generally a ground ball pitcher. And Eric Aybar is going to be very important for him to be able to field those ground balls. .976 fielding percentage, which is 4th best amongst AL shortstops. Last year he led shortstops in fielding percentage at .982. There'll be a lot of action for Eric Aybar here tonight.
There's Moreland, who takes outside. The first baseman at .297. 14 home runs and 43 RBIs. Good breaking ball. Evens up the count at 1-1. Moreland hit .323 in the month of June with 9 home runs. This one's line to left. Beats the shift. And it's a 1-out single.
Now here's tonight's Coors Light. Cold, hard facts, but you're brought to you by King Chris. Coors Light. Richards, 13-4 since the start of last year against the AL West. Just 3 home runs allowed in 20 starts versus his rivals in that AL West. Also, he had in the fact of 7-1 in his career versus the Rangers with a 2.57 ERA.
He's actually thrown the ball well here in this ballpark. 8th game, 5th start for him. Facing fielder now. The first one's outside. Garrett at Globe Life Park, a 3-1 record with a 3.76 ERA. Fielder, the DH, hitting .345 with 12 home runs and 49 runs batted in. .345 batting average, good for second, tied for second with Miguel Cabrera at the start of the day.
Good two-seam fastball at 95. Fielder 5 for 12 against Richards. Certainly a guy you get a double play against if you get that ball on the ground and an infielder.
Figure that he's got a good opportunity to make the All-Star team. The numbers he's put up this year after pretty much missing the bulk of last season. Middle of May on. Neck surgery. He's behind in the count with a 1-2 count. 1 out, and Moreland over at first. Got to give the Chase a breaking ball, and he evens up the count at 2-2. Richards coming off a win against Seattle, gave up 2 runs on 7 hits, went 7 2/3 in that one through just 94 pitches. He's now had 4 starts since giving up those 6 runs at Yankee Stadium in 2/3 of an inning. He's gone 3-1 since then. That 1 loss gave up 3 runs in his 6 innings of work. He's done a nice job since then. Fielder reaches for this one. Giavotella far to his left, has it. The throw out fielder for out number 2. Nice play by Johnny. 2 down.
Slider down, showing some good range. That's something that Alfredo Griffin has worked on with him a lot of late, is working on that defense. We've seen him turning some double plays at home, and that home stand in there showing some range. Able to field that ball, diving and getting fielder out of first base. It's all about getting those reps and trust in Alfredo, who's a very good fielder in his day.
So man in scoring position for Adrian Beltre. 2 outs here in the first. One 1-0. Beltre spent some time on the DL this year. Left thumb injury. He was on the DL from June 1st to the 22nd. Some say that thumb still may be bothering him. Chopper up the middle. Ibar to his left has it. And they'll throw out Beltre, and the Angels are done here in the first, leaving a man in scoring position for the Rangers. Under the second with no score. You can follow the Angels all season long with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet today. Gonzalez threw 13 pitches in the first. With a 2-out single and nothing more as Eric takes outside. Ibar Wednesday 0 for 3. Had a walk and a stolen base.
Anyway, looking from our angle here, but this playing surface here at Globe Life Park looks fantastic. It's in great shape. Usually this time of the year when the heat gets going, that infield could get beat up a little bit, but so far it looks great.
Plenty of rain here over the last couple of months as Ibar takes inside. But you're right, for the summertime, usually a little bit quicker, a little bit shorter. This one's looped down toward right center field, and it'll get down for leadoff single. Second hit allowed by Gonzalez.
Remember a few years ago they were trying to get that thicker grass in the infield to help out the pitching staff. Avoided that now. Nice swing by Eric, who continues to swing the bat well of late. He's putting the ball in play, utilize that middle part of the field. The pitcher was elevated.
Freeze comes up with Ibar at first. Good opportunity perhaps for Mike Scioscia to get a little hit and run action going. First one's down and in. Freeze always hears a smattering of boos here in Texas for his heroics in the 2011 World Series.
And whenever you're booed at the opposing ballpark, you did something well.
Yeah, against their team.
Yes.
Albert gets booed as well. He had that 3-homer game right here. Two balls and no strikes. Ibar with a good lead over at first base. He will look at a strike here, 2-1.
And it's a pretty good count right now. 2-1 count. Long look down at Gary DiSarcina for David Freeze.
David went 1 for 4 on Wednesdays, average of 234. Quick check of Ibar. 10 home runs, 34 runs batted in for David. He's now gone last 18 games with just 2 RBIs.
A lot of times to get a hitter going, a hit and run is a good thing to do. That way you're just tracking the baseball, trying to put it in play. A lot of room on that right side of the infield for Freeze.
Ibar doesn't go, and now it's inside. 3-1.
I don't know how that didn't hit Freeze. That baseball ran behind him. Well, 2-seam fastball. Starts middle of the plate and ends up being behind David Freeze.
Saw Joyce waiting on deck. Three-1. The strike. So a full count now. See if Ibar's on the move now. Chirinos, I know we like him quite a bit. He handles the pitching staff really well. Good defensive catcher.
Quick release, good times as far as his release times.
Eric takes off. The 3-2 fouled off. Ibar showed no ill effects of missing a couple of games with a hamstring tightness. It was early part of the homestand. Figure he'll be on the move again. There he goes. Freeze again fouls it back.
They're 10 for 27 on the homestand. So important to the lineup when he's in there. Do so many things. It allows Mike Scioscia some options as far as his ability to run. You can put him on hit and run. He bunts well. There's a little protection for Pujols behind him.
That's what Mike Scioscia was talking about even today before the game, talking about getting some depth, talking about on-base percentage, giving guys more opportunities to drive in runs. Well, the Angels have struggled. We've documented that plenty, especially on this string that they've been on over their last 27. Needing more guys at the bottom part of the order to get on. Ibar again takes off and Freese lines to the left, a single. Eric will turn. He's going to try to go to third. The throw from Hamilton is not in time. Freese goes to second. Beltre bobbled the baseball. Otherwise, I think Freese might be in trouble at second base.
Yeah, he anticipated that throw and then trying to have a quick tag from Beltre, but he saw that Freese was just going to continue on to second base, but bobbled the baseball. A good piece of hitting there by Freese. And I like that aggressive nature here from Eric Ibar. You're trying to create some opportunities to score. You see the bobble that allowed Freese to get into scoring position himself. You have two now. Nice job by Eric Ibar. We talked about, the offense needing to get going, but certainly with Ibar back in there defensively, this team played some solid defense at home. Won a couple games with the glove along with the pitching staff. Now let's see if the offense can get rolling here in a place they've always seemed to swing the bat well.
Beltre always trying to listen in on the conversation between third base coach and base runner. Infield back. Joyce at the plate. Takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Matt, starter in left field tonight, hitting 193. 4 home runs and 18 runs batted in.
It's the thing now with no shift on. But Matt Joyce, a lot of times you see 3 infielders on the right side of the field against Matt Joyce.
Tied him up. Throw down to third, and Ibar gets back to the bag. If that throw is near the bag, Eric's in a little trouble.
I think he gets him. He could tell even by that dive going back for Ibar. He knew he was in trouble. He was drifting down. He was caught. He went to that back part of the base to avoid a tag. Maybe Eric said in that conversation, "Hey man, don't tag me. You try to keep me close to third, but don't tag me out."
Ball and a strike on Joyce. One and two. There's a mistake on the lineup sheet that they put out. Tim Welke's the third base umpire. Just saw him coming to your screen there at third. Tom Woodring, the umpire, at second. There's Tim, the crew chief. Crone on deck. The 1-2 to Joyce. Down and in. Evens up the count. Gonzalez has thrown 29 pitches, 16 strikes, 13 balls. Angels with the runners at second and third and nobody out. Back-to-back singles.
Ground ball to the middle part of the field past the pitcher is going to result in a run for the Halos here. So if you're Matt Joyce, the worst case scenario is you're going to get a ground ball to Odor or even to Andrews to get a run home. Especially the right side of the infield. Not only get the run home, you'll get Freese over to third.
Now the 2-2. Joyce pulls a foul into the Rangers dugout. Outside, a full count. It'll be big not only for the Angels, get a base hit here, score 1, maybe 2, just to try to get something going out of Matt Joyce. And a struggle for him all season long. He's had 1 RBI since June 1st. Here's the payoff pitch. Matt fouls it back. Good rip at a fastball.
Well, he had a good pitch to drive. Inner half of the plate, that's his zone where he could do some serious damage. After a pitch inside like that from Gonzalez, more than likely you might see a little two-seamer try to run away against Joyce. Try to utilize that middle part of the field.
Now the 3-2. Joyce takes low, and it's a walk to load him up. Here comes Mike Maddox for his first visit. Maddox conveying to Gonzalez. Points of throwing some more strikes here. Mentioned they get odd splits for him. 17 walks, 14 strikeouts. Hasn't given up many hits. 30 and 41 2/3 coming into today.
What we've seen so far, even though it's still early, he hasn't thrown a ton of pitches. 33 pitches so far. Hasn't been able to throw any of his off-speed pitches for strikes. He's got a lot of movement on his changeup, his curveball, slider, same thing, cut fastball.
C.J. Cron, the DH tonight, hitting 198. Couple of home runs, 7 runs batted in. Homered off CC Sabathia Monday. Here's the first one. He's down and away.
Like Cron in his career against Texas, pretty solid numbers. 21 for 53 with 3 home runs and 9 RBI, 396 batting average.
That is pulled through the left side of base hit. Ibar will score. Freeze will be held up at third. 1-0 Angels.
And those numbers continue to rise for C.J. Cron against the Rangers.
Snaps that over for the Halos too.
Two-seam fastball down, but on the inner half of the plate. Nice stride through the baseball for C.J. on that one. As a pitch down. That ball hard in the hole. Good decision by Gary Sarcina to stop Freeze. It was hit so hard, and Hamilton could charge that one. Not going to be able to score 2 runs on it, but a solid base hit.
There's Carlos Perez, bases loaded, still nobody out. He will take a strike. And hit by Cron with a man in scoring position. The first hit the Angels have had in such situations since Cole Calhoun's go-ahead single in the 8th inning of Sunday's game, last Sunday's game against Seattle. Fouled back. No balls and 2 strikes. So the 0 for 31 is still safe. That's it. Angels did that in 1992, pardon me, as well as 2002.
That ended up being a pretty good year, though. 2002.
Spinning it forward.
Yes, indeed.
Freeze at third, Joyce at second, Cron at first. 0-2 to Carlos. Lays off.
It's amazing how the approach by Carlos changes when he's behind in the count. His swing's different. Early on, tries to turn on the baseball. Behind in the count, shortens up his swing. This is where he utilized that right center field swing very well.
And he tied him up with a fastball in, 1 away. First strikeout for Gonzalez. Base is still loaded. And that's Johnny Giavatella's turn.
This two-seamer had some serious running action. Ran off the plate. Even if Carlos makes contact, it's going to be a foul ball. Looked like he was looking for something away, anticipating a cut fastball or slider away. Instead, Gonzalez threw that two-seamer in off the plate.
Giavatella, fly ball to left, his first time up. Skies this one. Rudin Odor drifting out. That's going to be infield fly rule. 2 outs. Giavatella jumping on that first pitch.
Had no problem being aggressive on that. That pitch is right down the heart of the plate. Just got underneath it.
So it'll be up to Cole Calhoun now with 2 outs. Cole grounded out to Moreland in the first inning. A long top of the second. I was hoping to score more than one. Outfield playing somewhat shallow with Cole at the plate. There's the 0-2 downstairs. Three singles and a walk, one run in. Now the 1-2. Down and in, gets away from Chirinos, but not far enough for Freese to try to score.
It's already 31 pitches thrown by Gonzalez in this inning, but only one run scored for the Angels. Got to add on here.
And even for a young pitcher, I mean, you get out of this with just one run. Moral victory for you.
Especially in this ballpark. That's why you got to add on as much as you can. Very good hitter's yard. You know, he would love to see some more runs put up for him.
Two balls and two strikes. Now full count. They'll get the merry-go-round going. The runners are going to take off on the next pitch.
Well, if you're Cole right now, don't you think you have to get a fastball? 3-2 count. You got Trout on deck. Bases loaded.
Don't try to make too much of it, though. Wherever it's pitched, go with it.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to try to hit a home run if it's a fastball two-seamer away.
Right.
Go to left field. Middle part of the plate, use the middle of the field. Inside, that's when you turn on it. I automatically, on these counts, Victor, I threw a slider every time because I anticipated.
Regardless who's on deck.
It didn't matter because I anticipated that hitter thinking you're going to get a fastball.
Runners take off. The 3-2 is fouled back. So Freese back to third, Joyce back to second, Crone back to first. Another payoff pitch. Cole drives one out toward right center field. That ball's hit well, and this one will short hop the fence. 2 runs in. Crone being waved around. The throw from Rougned Odor not in time. A bases clearing double for Cole Calhoun, and the Angels lead it 4-0.
Well, you got a fastball up. When you're a sinker ball pitcher and you elevate a fastball, it becomes extremely hittable. And Cole crushed that ball. Great numbers mentioned before in this yard. You see how that two-seamer set is sinking? Lateral movement right out to the big part of the bat for Cole. And he drives in 3 with that double. 12th double now, 39 RBI on the season for Cole Calhoun.
And now Trout will bat here with 2 outs and a man in scoring position.
Sometimes, Victor, when you're on the mound, you're already thinking about that guy on deck. That's when, you know, we've seen some pretty decent pitches where he's thrown his breaking ball, a little cutter, or even his changeup, but the mindset was he didn't want to deal with Trout with the bases loaded. Instead, he Throws a two-seam right down the heart of the plate, and Cole makes it pay for it.
2 balls and no strikes. Action now in the Rangers bullpen. Anthony Bass, the right-hander, first man up. 4-0 here in the second. Looking for more. Strike. 2-1. John with a base hit to left. In the first inning, he's 1 for 1. Three and 1 now. You wonder if this is the last batter.
He has struggled his last couple starts. It's a great story early on for the Rangers. Threw the ball extremely well. Staying out that middle part of the plate on a lot of those two-seam fastballs that he's thrown.
Three one pitch. And he'll take ball 4. Second walk of the inning. And here comes Bannister, and that's going to be it for Chichi Gonzalez. The youngster gives up 4 runs. He's responsible for the 2 guys on base. But a lot of deep counts, and already at 52 pitches. Bannister trying to keep this game in check here.
Especially when you got Richards on the mound going against you.
He'll ask for the baseball. Chichi departs. Whoa. Step away for a moment. 4-0 Halos here in the second. With the bases loaded, double, then the walk to Trout that chases the starter Chichi Gonzalez. Turn in and out, who's in, who's out. Gonzalez is out. Bass is on in relief. 21st game, no record of 4.14 ERA, 41 in the third innings, 40 hits, 28 strikeouts, and 12 walks.
Yeah, Bass fastball, 90 to 95 range, slider, and changeup. That's 62% of his pitched fastballs, according to Fangraphs. It's a solid slider, though.
Comes in to face Albert Pujols with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Albert grounded out to Beltre the first. Got the inside corner for a strike. First appearance for Bass in the last 8 games. Last worked on June 24th against Oakland. It's 4 innings in that one. 0-1. Time was called at the last second. No pitch. Calhoun at second, Trout at first. Cron with the RBI single, then Calhoun on a 3-2 pitch. A double to the alley in right center. Good sinking fastball there.
Even that pitch he threw before time was called was a similar type of pitch, a sinker off the plate down.
Here comes the 1-2. Foul into the camera well. We'll reset it, do it again. Fast 27-year-old Michigan native. To Wayne State University in Detroit. Padres 5th round pick in 08. Played with Houston last year. He was a free agent this offseason. Texas picked him up. Two balls, two strikes.
Albert Pujols spent an outstanding month. June, AL Player of the Month. Batting average a little over 300, but 13 home runs and 26 RBI in the month for Albert Pujols.
Now the 2-2. Albert takes low, full count.
That's a pretty good pitch. Lower part of the strike zone.
Runners will take off. Cole from second, Mike from first. Halo's seen a couple of full counts in this inning. Payoff on the way. And there's ball 4, so they're loaded up again.
We've seen a lot of pitches in general in this inning.
Eric Ibar led off this second inning with a single. He will step up to the plate, looking to increase the Angels' lead. The Rangers staff that is 10th currently. Staff ERA 3.94. Their bullpen with an ERA of 4.22. A short outing for Gonzalez today, an inning in 2/3. Eric looks at a strike. 1-for-1 with that single. Calhoun and Trout belong to Gonzalez. Pujols is Bass's base runner. The 1-1. Ibar looks at a strike, 1-2.
Now Angel hitters against Texas who will see their 50th pitch this inning combined between Gonzalez and Bass.
One-two, back up the middle. That's a base hit. Should score 2. Calhoun and Trout easily scores. Make it 6-0 Angels. Eric Ibar with his 24th and 25th runs batted in.
Boy, have a second inning for Eric. 2 hits in this inning. Right back up the middle. Both his hits. That part of the field.
Pujols ends up at second base. The book closed now on Gonzalez. All 6 runs charged to him. first time the Angels have scored more than 4 runs in their last 12 games. Last time was that Friday night game in Oakland. They scored 12 runs. June 19th. Freeze will look at a strike. It was also the last time the Angels had 4 or more runs in an inning.
Well, we said this ballpark over the last couple of seasons when the club has been struggling coming in here offensively, turned it around here. They have early on for sure.
1 ball, 1 strike. Freeze with a base hit to left himself in the second. Nope, 1-2. Delayed call there by Tim Timmons. We've seen the Angels do this periodically throughout the year where they've had those big innings. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What we've seen so far against both Gonzalez and Bass, the hitters have done a nice job of not chasing that 2-seam fastball. When it's starting at the knees, it's never going to be a strike. Force that sinker up in the strike zone, becomes extremely hittable.
Two pulled toward the hole. Andrews can't get it. It's a base hit. Albert runs right through the stop sign. No, he slams on the brake. Ibar gets back to second. Albert was spinning around third and coming home until he finally peeked up to DiSarcina, who had the stop sign the whole time.
Yeah, and that was a good idea to stop there because of that. Hamilton's arm out in left field, the way he charged that baseball. See, Albert just getting to the bases. Hamilton comes up with that baseball. Even though it was up the first base line a little bit, it would still give Torinos an opportunity to get back and apply a tag. Good decision by Gary DiSarcina, even with 2 outs.
Yeah, and credit Ibar to keep his eyes on Pujols and not just assume that he was going to continue to run home.
Yeah, so often we always see where third base coaches automatically send someone home with 2 outs, but you got to look at certain situations, especially when the ball is hit to left field. A shorter throw for the left fielder, and Hamilton has a good throwing arm. Nice decision by Gary DiSarcina to stop Pujols.
So Matt Joyce will bat. 3rd time in the second inning the Angels have had the bases loaded. An opportunity to add on. Joyce looks at a strike.
Especially for a club that got in real late last night. Want to just keep adding on. Thinking in 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after playing Baltimore last night.
This inning got jump started with 2 outs. The Halos had them loaded after Crone singled a homer run to make it 1-0. Then Perez struck out. Giavotella popped out on the first pitch. Cole shot the bases clearing double to the alley in right center field. 1-1. Off speed, 1-2. Trout followed with a walk. Gonzalez was taken out. Pujols walked. Ibar with a 2 RBI single. Now Freeze with a base hit. Six nothing here in the second. Joyce bounces it foul. Garrett Richards more than thrilled with the 6 runs.
Yeah,
he'll take some more.
Yeah, you get that time in between innings. You get as many throws as you want in between innings now.
Down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Garrett's one of the starters that have suffered with the lack of run support this year. There's been a couple of guys. He saw a lot of run support last year.
Yeah.
2-2.
Smile.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Joyce. The top of the second comes to an end, but not before the Angels score 6 times, and a guy that really jump-started the inning, Cole Calhoun, with that bases-clearing double.
Yeah, that 3-2 sinker that did not sink. It was crushed to right center field.
Josh Hamilton, Shin-Soo Choo, and Elvis Andrus to lead things off against Garrett Richards, who's going to take a couple of more warm-up pitches.
Just like we thought he might be able to do, as long as he gets in there by that 2:30 in between inning time clock. Used to be you had to be able to throw only 8 pitches. As long as you get out there quickly, you get a few extra throws, and especially when you have a long half inning like Richards had in that bench.
So Josh will bat for the first time against his former teammates, picked up in a trade from the Angels on April 27th. Right shoulder surgery in the offseason, and I think everything has been well documented. That's how things played out in Southern California. Now a Ranger. Again. Had a game-winning pinch hit 2-run double on May 31st. Hurt his hamstring. And then went on the DL. Just recently activated. 1 ball, 1 strike. On the season, he's 9 for 30 with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. 3 infielders on the right side. 1-2.
Boy, good hard slider. Set him up with a fastball in, and then a hard slider down and in. Take another shot at that same exact pitch. The follow through hits the mask of Carlos Perez. And back with another slider.
Swing and a miss. Perez has to find the baseball, throw down to first to complete the strikeout, and he does. 1 out.
And now it's time for Tools of the Trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Very similar to what we saw against Josh Hamilton. This is what makes Garrett so special. So do a fastball in. The reason why that's important, comes right back in that same plane, down and in, slider, gets a swing and miss. To be able to get those type of swings on a slider down and in, you have to establish a fastball inside. And that's what Richards did then, and that's what he just did against Josh Hamilton.
Shin-Soo Choo, the right fielder, up. He will look at his strike. Choo hitting .231, has 11 home runs and 35 runs batted in on the season. Jammed, and that'll flare in for a base hit. Maybe more. Long run for Joyce. Choo with decent speed will get the second with a double.
Really a perfect pitch. He jammed him. The only reason why you'll see a flare is if pitch is elevated enough. But he went inside with his cut fastball, jammed him, and he flared it right down the left field line for a double. 14th double of the season for Chu.
The man at scoring position for Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. 242 hitter this year. Pujols playing in over at first base. So he's just about even with the bag at third. Well, you mentioned it before the game, but talking about this Rangers team, they've got guys that could put the ball on the ground and run as far as bunting if you wanted to kind of start something, start chipping away. Andrus being one of them. Leonis Martin another who's on deck.
Yeah, I think they'll challenge Garrett as far as bunting at some point during this game. That's a pretty good pitch. I got a lot of the strike zone.
Garrett's frustration there. The 1-1. Chopper left side, Andrus. It's thrown out by Eric Ibar.
Nice pick again by Pujols.
2 down.
The reason why I think you're going to see Martin and Andrus bunt, especially when you're down by 6 runs, the need for base runners, and both of them bunt very well for hits.
I mean, if you had the ability to do it for hits, I'm not talking about the sacrifice, although I think there are times for that. But if you have the ability to do that, to me, it's just causing chaos on the mound.
Yeah, and it forces your corner infielders to play in. You have to be aware of that as a pitcher, too.
Leonis Martin has a 1-ball, no strike count. Tough season for the Rangers center fielder. 225 batting average, 5 home runs, and 24 runs batted in. Some will wonder if Martin would keep his position in the lineup. Hamilton coming off the disabled list, and the way DeShields has played for Texas, done a nice job. Speedy Rule 5 pick. 2 balls and no strikes. Going accustomed to seeing Martin in that one spot. Dip down to the 8 hole now. Three balls and no strikes.
It's a little frustration. I think even the first 2 pitches, both breaking balls. Talked about that as far as the go-tos to be successful. A lot more breaking balls. Beginning part of the year, a lot more fastballs so far in this game, but it was unusual for him to see him to go after Martin with back-to-back breaking balls to start this sequence.
That's a 4-pitch walk. We'll put 2 men on here with 2 outs. Now Robinson Chirinos.
I get to see that conversation, that quick talk from Mike Scioscia and Mike Butcher there. This to basically say, hey, Garrett's got one of the best fastballs in baseball. He's got to utilize that, trust it. Yeah, the hitters like to hit a fastball, but he's got movement, both sink and cut action on the fastball. Now, if you put yourself in those fastball counts all the time, yes, it becomes more hittable. With certain counts, you got to just dominate with your fastball and then make him aware of that, and then you get him to swing and miss on a slider like he did against Hamilton.
Popped up behind the plate. Perez will give it a look, but it headed toward the seats.
Very important for that shutdown inning here for Garrett.
Two balls and one strike.
Stay back a little bit longer on the pitching rubber. He's drifting a little bit too quickly, playing catch up with his arm on that delivery for Richards. At this point, don't even think in terms of the base runners, think about the batter. Give yourself more time over the pitching rubber.
Torino skies one to left. Matt Joyce moving toward the corner. Before the track, he'll put it away for the third out. Nothing doing for Texas here, the second. We're headed to the third. 6-0. Angels. For you to tweet your strongest fan photo, use hashtag WestDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming Angels broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. TJ Crone to lead things off. 8-9-1 for the Halos here in the third. RBI single in the second inning. Also scored a run. Bass finished off the second, stays in the ball game, will soak up a couple of innings, you would imagine. You talked about in the second inning about adding on, especially in this ballpark. As Crone looks at his strike. Case in point, the bottom of the second inning. Yeah, you let down with 2 outs, you walk. Leonis Martin put 2 guys on. If Chirinos gets a hold of it, all of a sudden it's a 6-3 game.
Yeah, you got to keep scoring. This is a lot like being at Fenway Park.
Back up the middle. Lodor was shading Crone that way. Nice pick and a nice throw for the first down.
Dimensions bigger than Fenway Park, but the baseball carries so well here. The infield is lightning fast generally. The key is not gifting base runners via the base on balls. If you just go after them, attack them, force them to swing the bat, still stay within your game plan as if the mindset is 0-0, but especially with Richards' fastball, trust that fastball.
Carlos struck you out in the second inning, so he's 0 for 1. Chichi Gonzalez won an inning and 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 1 strikeout, 2 walks, and he was charged with all 6 runs. Carlos now with a 2-ball, no strike count. One and 2. Check that, 2-1. The 6 runs allowed by Gonzalez, second time he's done that, gave that up against Oakland 2 starts ago. The outing certainly is the shortest of his brief major league career by a long shot. He's gone 5 2/3 in 3 starts this year. Been his shortest. And there's a walk. Second one issued by Bass. The top of the order up. And this season, the Angels want to give fans exclusive experiences here at Angel Stadium. All Access Angels gives fans a chance to bid on great experiences like Steel Third and Honorary Bat Kit. For more info and to bid on these experiences, visit angels.com/access. Giavotella punching one to right field, a base hit. Carlos will head to third. Good base running by Carlos, immediately making that read as that ball trickles into the outfield.
No, he never hesitated whatsoever. Let's take a look at our AT Uverse rewind with the bases loaded on a 3-2 count. Gonzalez went fastball, elevates that 2-seamer upstairs, and Cole Calhoun rockets that ball off the wall in right center field, clearing the bases. A 3-run double by Cole Calhoun. Chance for another RBI at least for Cole.
One for 2 with a ground down and the double. Double for Cole, his 12th of the year, now with 39 RBIs on the year. Only 2 guys with 40 or more, Pujols and Trout. Trout with 44, Albert with 49. And that is driven out to right field. He's going to get to 40. This one will hop the fence. Perez will score. Being waved around as Giavotella. Here comes the throw to the plate, and Johnny's easily gone down. 7-0 Angels. And that is the second out of the inning. Interesting send there with Trout coming up. And Cole with his second double of the ballgame.
That ball was crushed, almost a similar spot his last at bat. Got that in there quickly to relay man. Plenty of time to throw out Giavotella. It was surprising though for Gary DiSarcina to send home Giavotella. So what a nice swing once again by Cole.
So 2 outs, man at third, Trout at the plate. Trout with a single and a walk, 1 run scored.
2 doubles in the game so far for Cole, 4 RBI for Cole Calhoun. Now 40 RBI on the season.
Matches his career high, which was set this year on June 9th against Tampa Bay. 3-hit game that day. Late strike call there. 1-2. Tim Timmons really with a delayed call. Taking over for the retired Tim McClellan, I guess.
Yeah, that was fairly slow. You can hear it when you're on the mound, but the only place.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Always liked throwing when he was behind the plate, though. He liked to call strikes.
Yeah. It's an incredible dramatic pause.
Yes. Big fella, too.
Calhoun at third. 7-0 Angels here in the third inning. 2-2 to Trout. Reaches for this one, fouls it off. This one headed to the seats again. 9 hits for the Angels. 2 outs here to the third inning. Something to cheer about. A young Ranger fan.
Big smile.
I think he wants to throw it.
Yeah, he does. Righty.
Full count.
You said that a few times today.
Yeah, no doubt. That and bases loaded. When you see a pitch like that, that's a guy that's not fully committed to throwing that pitch, is he?
No, he wants
that far out.
Exactly. I'm telling you, he's hoping that the hitter chases it. Going to try to maybe run a fastball that part of the plate now.
Chopper back up the mound, and nice play by Bass. Leaping up for it, throws out Trout. That gets by him. That's another run and an infield single. Halos tack on a run. We'll head to the bottom of the third. Still leading at 7-0. White. Match 4 years in the making. It's just 2 days away. Don't miss the event everyone will be talking about on Monday. It's the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup Final, the United States versus Japan. Coverage begins at 2 Pacific Sunday, only on Fox. Then at 3:30, watch Game 3 between the Angels and the Rangers right here on Fox Sports West while streaming the World Cup live on Fox Sports Go.
That's going to be a lot of fun. What a day of sports.
Top of the order. Odor, Moreland, and Fielder to face Garrett Richards. No balls on a strike on the Rangers second baseman who struck out in the first. 2 strikeouts for Garrett, 1 walk, 2 hits allowed.
You see the batting average improves so much. He's kind of shortened up his swing enough too. Make more consistent contact. was a 90-mile-an-hour slider. And Rich is pretty much telling you he overthrew that one. That's good adjustment by Garrett on that slider. Even though that 89 stayed back much better. Very difficult to throw a slider for a strike when your front shoulder drifts open. It means your pitching arm is going to be dragging through the zone. Difficult to throw that for a strike or even close enough to get the hitter to swing at it.
A good breaking ball. Thought he had the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bouncer to second. 1 down.
Good moving fastball again for Garrett. Again, he is a ground ball pitcher that can get strikeouts. Already 4 ground ball outs so far in this game for Richards. His best pitches down in this strike zone, both his fastball and slider and curveball. You would think because he throws 97, 98, upstairs would be a good fastball, but that pitch straightens out for him.
Moreland takes a breaking ball down and away. Single to left field for Moreland in the first.
Certainly has velocity back here today. A number of pitches at 97 miles an hour.
One and two. Remember last year the blow-up game that he had in Oakland, and from that point forward, kind of locked it down and went off on a terrific run until the injury at Fenway Park. We haven't seen the overly dominating stuff as of yet. It's been there, but where we've seen games of 1, 2, 3s innings quickly haven't appeared as of yet. But he's still pitching very effectively, and the last 4 starts have been very good.
Yeah, he's already in this game. He's had 28 pitches that are 95 miles an hour and higher. So a little over 69% of his pitches are fastballs. That's what we talked about at the start of the game. He's got to get back to that mindset with that fastball. It's a great fastball.
Count evens up at 2-2 with that breaking ball.
He's starting to get a better feel for his curveball. And it's good because he doesn't throw many changeups. I think at some point Garrett will throw more changeups, but he changes speeds on his curveballs compared to his slider.
Reaching for this one. Ibar, and the shift has it. 2 outs. Hot upcoming schedule for the Angels. Mentioned it's a 9-game road trip that takes the Angels to the All-Star break. 2 more here in Texas. Tomorrow, it's a 6:05 start Pacific time. And then on Sunday, it's a 4:05 start Pacific time. Then the off day in Denver. 2 against the Rockies, then 4 against Seattle. Those first 5 there between Colorado, Seattle, night games, and Sunday, of course, a day game at Safeco. That's the All-Star break, Cincinnati. I guess on Sunday you'll have the starters announced, and then on Monday the pitchers and the reserves. And already people writing articles about who do you think would be snubbed.
No one's been snubbed yet.
No, I know, but that's
it's unbelievable how they think in those terms. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of talent in this game. There's always going to be some players that probably should be all-stars that won't make it, but this core group that's going to be in this all-star game is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
2 balls and a strike on Fielder. I honestly think that going forward, if this time it counts thing continues, where home field advantage is attached to the All-Star game, they've got to stop the nonsense of one representative from every team. This one line to left. Joyce back a couple of steps and almost had to go over his head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let the fans vote. That's fine, but just pick the best All-Star teams, especially with World Series on the line. We'll head to the fourth. 7-0 Angels. Nothing. Pujols sidebar and freeze. Bass out for another inning. He's gone an inning and 2/3 so far. Check that, inning and a third. 2 outs in the second. We relieved Chichi Gonzalez. Albert looks at his strike. 0 for 1 today with a ground out and a walk.
A little two-seam fastball against him last time, down and in on him. He's going to try a slider here.
One, two. That's a called strike 3. Tim Timmons rings up Albert one away.
The key for this game today for the Halos. Don't blink. In other words, don't miss that opportunity to drive a baseball. Get a fastball, drive it, slider. Don't blink. You look up. 7 runs through 3 innings. Don't blink, Vic.
I'm trying not to.
Stop.
I'm going to stop. Won't blink the rest of the game.
Perfect.
Well, it just did. Never mind.
Oh.
Done.
Killing it. Killing it.
Ibar 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. With the 2 RBI knock into second. Matter of fact, both of his hits were in the second inning. Lifts this one out toward right center field. Shin-Soo Choo racing over. Still going back on the track now. This one's off the wall. Eric on his way to second with his 3rd hit of the ball game. It's a double.
See, he didn't blink at all there, Victor. Look what happened.
My eyes are dried out.
Double off the wall. Talked about that jet stream out to that part of the field. That ball just kept carrying away from Choo. Hops that wall for a double for Eric Ibar. His 12th, 3rd hit of the game.
Man in scoring position for David Freese, who's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. Ground ball toward short. Andrews dives, can't get it. A single to left center. Ibar will score, make it 8-0. David Freese with a 3-hit game and picks up an RBI. His first in some time.
With some good swings too, using the middle part of the field. Right back up the middle, just got it by Andrews. For an RBI single. And some balance. Mike Scioscia's been wanting balance throughout this lineup. He's getting it so far.
First RBI for Freese since June 16th. Here's Joyce. RBI for Freese, by the way, is 35th. Joyce will walk at a strikeout. I think David wanted the RBI in the second inning, but they kept the bases loaded. That was Pujols that was held up at third base. Six for 10 tonight. How about that?
That's outstanding.
Came into tonight 0 for the last 27.
Now, like we said in the opening today, the Angels have hit well in this ballpark the last couple of seasons. And even coming into this ballpark, their offense at times it struggled, and all of a sudden they start seeing the baseball much, much better. Cole's had himself a monster game so far. Garrett Richards liking all this run support.
One, two. Joyce. Foul tips down one into the mitt for out number 2.
Looked like Matt just pulled off on that fastball just enough to not make solid contact, foul it straight back and caught by Chirinos. But usually that's his spot where he could drive it. The front shoulder just opened enough for him not to make solid contact.
Crone looks at a strike. CJ, the DH tonight. RBI single in the second, ground down in the third. Good off speed pitch from Bass. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 8-0 Halos here in the fourth. 11 hits tonight. First 6 runs allowed by Gonzalez. Bass has given up 2 so far. And Crone goes down swinging on a slider. That'll do it for the Angels here in the fourth. They do tack on a run. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. 8-0 Angels. July 14th, baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Our coverage of the 2015 MLB All-Star Game begins July 14th at 4 p.m. Pacific on Fox. And guess what, Gooby? It's streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Nice. In Cincinnati, where the baseball flies.
The Natty.
Yes,
That's what they call it. As Tom Brenneman likes to call it, the Natty.
The Natty.
Let me tell you something, Pally. Beltre to lead things off here against Garrett Richards, who's coming off his one and only 1-2-3 inning. Beltre, Hamilton, and Chu for Texas. Beltre grounded out his first time up. Eight for 29 in his career against Garrett. Would you have guessed those numbers?
No.
Reaching for this one. Pujols has it. Foot race. Richards wins it. 1 out.
He's always seemed like he has uncomfortable swings against Richards. And he looks back at the catcher wondering what that pitch actually was.
Again, I'm not sure that he's 100% yet with that left thumb. I think the Rangers organization were surprised that he was ready to come back off the DL.
It took a while for him to get back at third base, his fielding position after his first at bat. But that ground ball looked like off the end of the bat against Richards' first at bat.
Maybe he saw Joey Gallo just driving baseballs out in the stratosphere and figured, I don't want to be Wally Pipp Jr.
I feel good. I feel real good.
Hamilton fouls off the first pitch. Josh struck out in the second, so he's 0 for 1. Late on that one. Scared the living daylights of the fan. Looked like he's wearing like an A's hat right behind the on deck circle on the Angels side.
Yeah, you're not.
No, it's a Baylor hat. There we go.
He wasn't anticipated.
To no end.
Yes. Lefty up. I'm thinking there's no chance there's anything coming my way. You can breathe now.
Oh man. Breaking ball down low. He was Josh was late on the fastball.
Looked like he was looking to break a ball. The second pitch. This time he took it. I still think he can rate back again with a hard slider down and in.
And he got him again. Perez flips down to Pujols. Strikeout recorded. 2 outs.
And he got that fastball in early in that sequence. And eventually came back at that hard slider down and in to get a swing and miss. This one starts knee and then right in the dirt.
That's hard as a hitter because it's got fastball look all to it on the inside part of the plate.
Like we showed in our tools of the trade, the reason why that pitch is so effective for Garrett is because he throws that cut fastball in on lefties too. So you have to think in terms, okay, is that a fastball again? Try to gear up for it. And it's that hard slider down and in for a swing and miss.
Good breaking ball to start off Shin-Soo Choo, the right fielder, who blooped a double down the left field line in the second. Garrett's now retired 7 in a row since the walk to Leonis Martin with 2 outs in the second.
Good slow curveball. 82-mile-an-hour curveball.
Oh, 2 now. And he got him with an off-speed pitch. Down goes Chu, and another 1-2-3 inning for Garrett. 4 complete. Halos up 8-0. Dodge Charger with an EPA estimated 31 highway miles per gallon. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com. By AT Uverse, more live channels on the go than cable. And by Nissan. This 4th of July, save big during Nissan's Free to Choose event. Bonus cash ends soon. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Halos will have 9-1-2 coming up here in Arlington to start the 5th inning, up 8-0. Anthony Bass has gone 2 to 3rd. He's thrown 59 pitches and he's allowed 2 runs. Perez, Giavotella, and Calhoun. Carlos shoots one down the right field line toward the corner. Shin-Soo Choo moves over and he drops the baseball. Perez will head to second and stop right there in what should have been the first out of the inning.
It's his 3rd error of the season for Choo. He's flat out dropped it, didn't look that baseball into his glove. Now the runner in scoring position for the Halos.
Giavotella 1 for 3. He rolled a single to right his last time up. Looks at strike 1. Reaching for this one. It's a bouncer to the mound that did not advance Perez. 1 out. Johnny really expanding that zone on an 0-1 count. Cardinals remains at second and Cole Calhoun coming up.
And that pitch a little bit off the outside corner.
Cole with a couple of doubles and 4 RBIs. 2 for 3 overall. Second time in his career that he's had a multi-double game. The other was earlier this year against the Rockies on May 12th. He's able to drive in Perez from second. He set a new career high for him in RBIs. Angels 4-2 against Texas so far this season. Scored 6 in the second. Solo runs in the 3rd and 4th. This one's popped up to shallow left. Andrews, the shortstop, cutting out. Gives way to Hamilton. That was pretty close to being dropped too. 2 outs.
In the last second, you can see his reaction for Hamilton. You want to catch that baseball that shoulder high, end up catching around his knee. Still looking up at the scoreboard to see exactly where that baseball end up being in his glove.
So 2 outs. Perez still at second. Here's Trout. Michael 1 for 2 game with a single, a walk, and a comebacker to the mound. This run scores. It's an unearned run. That's Bass. Choo dropping the fly ball off the bat of Perez. 2-base error. That is lined towards short. Andrews got it. Well struck by Trout. Nothing to show for it. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. Angels still leading this one. 3-game series against Texas. Want to remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Los Angeles Angels and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP. Garrett Richards has retired 7 straight since the walk to Leonis Martin in the second. He'll face the bottom third of the order, and Andrews, Martin, and Chirinos. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 hits allowed. Single to Moreland in the first, a double to Chu in the second. Elvis Andrews grounded out to Eric Ibar in the second. He's 0 for 1.
96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Line off of Richards, ricochets to Giavatello. A 1-4-3 put out for the first out. Now the question is, where'd that ball hit? Richards is waving off Socia. Doing so emphatically.
I think I got the glove. Looked like. See back up the middle, off the leg. Thigh area.
I guess if you're going to get hit, that's not a bad place to get hit.
The wallet.
You used to carry your wallet.
Oh, yes. Didn't I now?
Didn't trust the old cubby hole
No.
in the clubhouse. No.
Where I grew up from, you always carried it with you all the time.
That would have been fantastic. This one pulled the second. 2 down. The wallet comes in handy, especially when you're in the bullpen.
Oh, yeah. It's comfortable. Yes. Some good food you can get down there in the bullpen.
So that's what you've heard of.
Yes. Tom Gordon, Flash Gordon, was very good as far as getting food down in the bullpen. When
Really?
he was down there with the Royals. I mean, he was eating there up to about the 4th or 5th inning, and then he knew at that point I better shut it down.
Flash. See what D's having one heck of a season.
Incredible.
Completely different player.
His other son, what, Nick? First round draft pick.
Yeah. It's crazy. Good for them. Chirino's a fly ball to left, so he's 0 for 1. Watching the Marlins Cubs game earlier this afternoon. My dad happens to be here, and obviously he sees a lot of Marlins games living in Florida. Chirinos lines one and glove by Giavatello. He said that up the middle defense, Echeverria and D. Gordon.
Yeah, they
unbelievable.
cover everything.
Everything. Went in the 6th inning with the Angels still on top.
not swinging today. C.J. Cron, an RBI single with the bases loaded. Cole Calhoun on a 3-2 pitch. Doubles the right center field, clearing the bases. And Eric Ibar's had a fantastic game himself. Line drive back up the middle. One of his 3 hits. He goes with 11 hits and 8 runs so far in this game. And Garrett Richards has been dominating. Has not allowed a run on 2 hits.
Pujols, Ibar, and Freeze for the Angels here in the 6th inning. Albert 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. He's also drawn a walk. Rangers with a new shortstop, Hanser Alberto. Move for Elvis Andrus. Albert shoots one to right, a base hit. Good piece of hitting. Leadoff single, 12th hit of the night for the Angels.
Stayed back on that baseball so well. Fastball 91 away. Not only goes the other way, he hits it hard away. Good stride he has, and looking to hit the ball that part of the field. Successfully does so for his first hit of the game. Been on base twice now. Once a walk, now a base hit.
Ibar fouling off the first pitch. Eric, a 3-hit game, 2 singles and a double. Fourth 3-hit game of the season. Lays off. That's 1 ball, 1 strike.
So far in this game, Ibar and Freeze have combined to go 6 for 6. 3 runs scored between the two.
2-1 downstairs. 3 balls and a strike. David Freeze due up next. .74 pitches now thrown by Bass. Let's start to see some action in the Rangers pen. This one pulled to right field, a base hit. First and second to start the 6th inning. Ibar picks up his 4th hit.
We got now 7 for 7 between Ibar and Freeze.
Neftali Feliz begins to loosen now. It's a career high tying 4th hit for Eric. 13th time he's done that. The last was at Atlanta last year, June 14th. Maddox had to talk things over. This just to give Feliz an opportunity to get ready. Richard Freeze with a 3-hit game. His 2nd of the season. Those back in late April. Three singles with an RBI and a run scored. He's got Pujols at second, Ibar at first. Eight runs, 13 hits, 7 left on for the Angels. No runs, 2 hits, an error, and 3 left on for Texas. Lays off. No, foul tip. A check swing. So an 0-2 count.
Hanging slider. Bass got away with that one. Freeze has fouled it off.
RBI for Freeze in the 4th inning. His 35th of the year. He chops this one toward short. Now Alberto backs up, fires to second. Low throw. Dug out by Odor, and they force out Ibar for the first out.
Good scoop by Odor at second. A tough throw. See if Matt Joyce can join the hit parade today.
Joyce a walk and a couple of strikeouts. Two balls and no strikes. Moreland playing behind Freeze at first base. Always tough games when you get back in early morning hours. Rangers did not take BP. They're playing last night in Baltimore as Joyce lifts one out to left. Hamilton settling underneath it. He'll make the catch. Pujols not going anywhere. 2 down.
Albert was looking at Sarcina. See if he would indeed send him. Wise decision not to.
So C.J. Crowe will bat here with Pujols at third and Freeze at first. Crowe 1 for 3. RBI single in the second. 8th RBI of the season. Phillies ready to go in the Texas bullpen. Pass ahead of the count now at 0-2. Pass took over for Chichi Gonzalez in the second. Lasted an inning and 2/3 tonight, giving up 6 runs on 5 hits.
We're hoping for her to throw that baseball into the stands to him.
Down goes Crone, and the Angels will leave a couple of men on base. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Halo still leading at 8-0. As we start the bottom of the 6th inning, he has been very, very good this entire ball game. Gave up that 1 walk to Martin in the 2nd, and from that point forward, he's retired the last 10.
Quite a few ground ball outs too during the process. Last inning, Giovatello was involved in all 3 outs. 1-4-3, a 4-3, and then a line drive at him.
First one in tight. Top of the order. Odor, Moreland, and Fielder. Rangers second baseman 0 for 2. A strikeout, a ground out. Pulls this one toward first. Albert's got it. And Richards beats Odor. That's the first out. Stay tuned later tonight on the post-game show for the business of sports, brought to you by AutoNation.com and powered by AutoNation Ford Valencia.
Give Garrett a little bit of a breather going over the first base, and Albert Pujols is always aware of that play where Richards covering the base, tries to give him a perfect feed each time. If he's got a chance to get to the base, he will do so, but clearly not when you have to feed and lead Richards closer to the base, and he did a nice job as far as doing that.
Moreland a 1 for 2 game with a single and a ground down. Four strikeouts, 1 walk for Garrett. 65 pitches, pardon me, 66 pitches. 44 for strikes. 2-1 now. Phillies continues to loosen in the Rangers bullpen, so he'll pitch the 7th. Bass has gone 4 1/3. Uh, 2-2. Moreland 1 around, 2 outs. Strikeout number 5.
A lot of great movement on his fastball tonight. Fastball looked like Carlos Perez wanted that fastball cutter in, but ended up running away. And when it's 95.
I think a great indicator when a guy's got terrific stuff, besides looking at the stuff itself, is when you've got good hitters that are on a hot streak. And when they're usually on a hot streak, the baseball looks like a beach ball to them. Take odd swings or reaching for pitches or guessing, and they can't get a good read on that. To me tells you the movement, late movement especially, on Garrett.
Yeah, I think when you face Richards, when he's on his game, like you said, Victor, you just got to look in the zone and hope that's going to be that spot. And if you guess wrong, especially with the velocity on all his pitches, you're at his mercy. That's it's a fastball count. You're behind the game 8-0. You know you're getting a fastball. A very good fastball hitter in Prince Fielder, and that was a little cutter underneath his hands at 96 again.
Prince 0 for 2 with the ground down, the fly ball to left.
It's his 40th pitch. Been over 95 miles an hour in this game for Richards. I mean, that's phenomenal. He only has 72 pitches thrown in this game.
Just changing the eye level. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Changing speeds. I don't know if that's a changeup or a curveball. That one. 74 miles an hour. Trying to take a little bit too much off the curveball, and it slipped out of his hand.
Now the 2-2. It's like Garrett dealing with the moisture right now. 86 degrees. It's muggy, but it's not it's not Florida muggy or Houston muggy here. But obviously a night like this, you're going to work up pretty good lather. Fielder drives one out to the alley in right center field. Nobody's going to get this one. And it goes off the base of the wall. Prigg's on his way to second. And it's a 2-out double. 19th of the season.
He went back to another curveball. This time it was elevated. Even though he was late on a couple fastballs, this curveball was kind of stayed up in the zone.
Snapped a string of 12 straight retired by Garrett. Puts a man in scoring position. The third time tonight for Texas, and Beltre up, who's grounded out twice. Fouled off, and Beltre just dropped the bat. Again, if you look at the left hand of Adrian Beltre, it's the thumb area, which he hurt in a slide at second base. There's a black tape. It's obviously it goes all the way to the thumb as it's wrapped up.
Just forced him to let go of the bat.
Yep.
On the follow through.
A lot of torque, especially in his swing. He shoots this one back up the middle, a base hit. Fielder will be waved in, and it'll be 8-1. So back-to-back 2-out hits as Beltre picks up his 21st RBI.
And I think Beltre was happy to get a slider against Rich, especially dealing with that thumb. Slider to his middle part of the plate. Use that, have both hands on the bat all the way through the swing, but because of the slider, you had a better opportunity to get a good part of the bat on it.
Right.
Now, fastball when your thumb's hurting, you don't want any part of that fastball from Rich, especially when it cuts away and hits off the end of the bat.
Oh, 1 count on Hamilton, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Double by Fielder and the single by Beltre. Played in the first, a Rangers run. Two balls and a strike. And what it's done too is kind of start to get that pitch count up a little bit. He's at 80 now. Cruising along until that double to Prince. Here's a 2-1. Hamilton pulls one toward the corner. Now we'll get down and go for extras. Beltre on his way to third is going to be stopped there, and Hamilton in at second with a double. So that's 3 straight hits now. I wonder if Butcher's going to come out and pay a visit.
All 3 of those hits on breaking pitches also. We said in this ballpark, you got to continue to add on and then put up some zeros when you're on the mound.
Are you doing them a favor, up 8-0, and falling back to the breaking ball? It's been good this year. I'm not saying that. You talked about the percentage and how many he's thrown this season.
Yeah, you look how well he was doing when he was throwing a lot of fastballs. We showed that graphic a little earlier, how many pitches at 95 plus with the fastball. And the percentage of the fastballs thrown in this game is compared to off speed. But all 3 of these hits, because he looks uncomfortable, you can see him keep trying to dry his hand off for a slider, and each time Those sliders have been spinning out over the plate around 95, 85, which is still pretty firm, but they're not quite that zip on there because he's not comfortable throwing it.
Well, credit fielder Beltran Hamilton for taking advantage of some pitches that are in the zone to hit. Here's Shin-Soo Choo. Flared a double in his first at bat, struck out in the fourth. 2 outs. We're in the 6th inning. 8-1 Angels. And there's a ground ball to second.
And right back to his fastball.
Hitting over. They do get on the board with a run on 3 straight hits. We'll head to the 7th. 8-1 Halos.
Brought to you by Foster Farms Simply Raised, fresh chicken with no antibiotics. By Mercury Insurance, on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com to get a fast free quote and see how much you can save. And by Hyundai, the 4th of July sales event is going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
Top of the 7th inning, 8-1 Angels. A couple of changes for the Texas Rangers. New first baseman Adam Rosales taking over for Mitch Moreland. And they also have a new pitcher. His name is Neftali Feliz. 18th game, a 1-2 record, a 5.09 ERA. Takes over for Anthony Bass, who went 4 1/3 tonight in relief of Chichi Gonzalez. Bass gave up 2 runs on 8 hits, struck out 5 and walked 2. Feliz to face 9-1-2. Perez, Giavatel, and Calhoun.
The Feliz fastball, 91 to 96 range. Very good changeup and slider.
Carlos Perez 0 for 2. First one in for a strike. Cardinals hit a walk with a run scored in the 3rd. Angels dropping a 6th spot in the 2nd. Solo runs in the 3rd and 4th. Of course, Texas getting their run in the bottom of the 6th.
I like what Mike Butcher said to Garrett Richards when he went out there. That conversation quick. You just go back to that hard fastball. Quick ground ball out to finish off that inning. No more damage done. Yeah, sometimes what happens when you get into that mode when you want to throw your slider or curve, you're thinking in terms of a strikeout. Because you got a good one. You had a couple good swing and miss, especially against Hamilton his first 2 at bats. But his best pitch is his fastball. Certainly his best pitch tonight is his fastball. It was a good idea to get back to that pitch.
2-2 on the way. And Perez flares one out to right, and that'll get down for a single. Fans of Halos welcome the Boston Red Sox to the Big A for a 4-game series beginning on July 17th. Purchase your tickets today at the Angel Stadium ticket office or online at angels.com. 4-game set Friday through Monday.
Monday game after a day game or let's see, a 5 o'clock game our time.
Yeah, Sunday night.
Sunday night.
The old wraparound.
Oh yeah.
Fourteenth hit for the Angels. That base hit by Carlos. Giovatello takes down and away. Johnny 1 for 4 with a single back in the third. Crazy to think that if Dolly Feliz is still only 27 years of age.
When he first came up, what a great closer he was. Those teams that got to the World Series.
40 save season in 2010, Rookie of the Year. 32 saves the following season. And there was the whole discussion with not only Naftali but also Alexi Ogando. The tantalizing arms and whether or not they could convert them to starting.
Both tried it.
Yeah.
When both of those guys were in the bullpen at the same time, that was a great bullpen.
Lockdown. Kind of like Kansas City is able to shorten games now. Texas was able to certainly do that with those two guys.
Think about that upstairs. World Series team for Cincinnati, the Nasty Boys.
Right. Place which just hasn't pitched in that many games this year, coming off Tommy John surgery. This is popped up. 3-1 count, foul territory. Adam Rosales calls off Chirinos. 1 out.
Yeah, it's always a good idea as a catcher to get out of the way because Rosales is going to be running in, never going to stop.
Here comes Cole Calhoun. 4 RBI night. A couple of doubles, 2 for 4. Hacking a fastball in Eames' account. 14 hits for the Angels. The most they've had since they had 14 against Tampa Bay on June the 11th. Season high is 15. They've done that 3 times. This is out towards shallow center field. Long run out there. Alberto, the shortstop, calling for it. He'll make the catch for the second out.
He went a long way to make that play. Called that one emphatically to make sure the communication was there.
So Perez still at first base, and here's Trout. Mike has gone 1 for 3 with a single and a walk. Boston has battled back, by the way, to tie the Houston Astros at Fenway Park 7-7 in the 7th inning.
George Springer going to be out for what, up to 6 weeks?
Yeah,
for the Astros. Fantastic young player for the Astros.
Pretty good combination. 1-2 there. 1-2-3 really with Springer, Correa, and Altuve. At least that's how they matched up against the Angels. Houston had the early lead. Bullpen game now. Oakland leading Seattle 3-2. That's at the Coliseum in the 5th inning. Three balls and no strikes on track. Tampa Bay and the Yankees extra innings in New York, 3-3 in the 10th. Milwaukee leading Cincinnati 10-0 in the 9th.
Milwaukee's been playing a little bit better of late.
3-1.
They've won 5 in a row. Looks like they're going to win 6 in a row now.
Baltimore is on the verge of getting shut out for the 2nd straight night. That's a team that we reeled off those numbers in June. The plus run differential for them in June. Pretty good offensive outburst in that month.
I remember this the other day. They had a doubleheader sweep in which they had 2 shutouts in the game on the pitching side. Baltimore.
Twins leading Kansas City 2-1 in the 8th. Twins trying to make up some ground in the Central Division. They are 3.5 back at the start of the day. Kansas City's lost 4 in a row. That game's in Kansas City. 3-2. And there's called strike 3. Trout thought it was ball 4. Tim Timmons brings him up. And we have 7th inning stretch time here in Texas. 8-1 Angels. Here in Arlington, Angel fans, it's time for you to tweet your strongest fan photos. Use hashtag WestDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming Angels broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Jared Richards finishing up his warm-up pitches. He gave up a run on 3 straight 2-out hits in the 6th inning. He is scheduled to face the bottom third of the order, Alberto Martinez Chirinos. This will be Hanser Alberto's first plate appearance of the night. He took over for Elvis Andrews, shortstop in the 6th. 254 batting average, 23 games this year. 2 doubles, a triple, and 3 runs batted in. No balls and a strike. Alberto just 22 years of age. Chops this one toward the left side. Freeze cuts it off. 1 down.
Well, play by Freeze. Cutting that one off, and quick throw over to first base. More difficult play would have been for Eric Ibar.
Center fielder Leonis Martin.
Here comes Leonis Martin. Shortstop is walked and grounded out. Tomorrow night it's an 8:05 start here Central Time. 6:05 back home. Angels live pregame featuring Kent French and Jose Mota. Will kick things off at 5:30. Wandy Rodriguez, left-handed, going up against Hector Santiago. Hector's last start before the All-Star teams are announced, Gooby. I think he's deserving.
No question. His numbers are great. Sometimes you can't control the win-loss record. What you control is innings pitched, batting average against, ERA.
And this is where that whole every team gets represented thing maybe keeps someone like Hector out of the All-Star game. Maybe not because his numbers don't overly stand out, the decisions or lack thereof, but ERA is his whip has been really good. He's pitched really well, but he could be a bubble guy if they have to have one guy from whatever team to fill out that pitching staff.
Exactly right. Remember last year, Garrett Richards, certainly we all thought he should have been an All-Star. A lot of times what you're seeing now is managers take bullpen guys because of the way the game is played now in this All-Star game, how important that back part of the game is.
Martin goes down looking for round number 2.
That's that good fastball. 95 for Richards. Target set, target hit. Carlos did a nice job of putting that target out there, and Richards, a little cut fastball, perfect location.
Strikeout number 6 for Garrett. Here's Robinson Chirinos. What if you went and gave the manager, because you want fans to vote still, right? You want them to vote the starters. That's fine, whatever. But then the managers get to choose the rest of their roster, right? They're managing for home field advantage. Now, it's possible that that year's manager is managing a team that's got no chance to get back to the World Series. Clearly, they were there the year before, and that's why they're managing the All-Star game. But let him choose the roster that he wants, that fits his style, to go in and take on the other All-Stars.
Well, it makes sense, because you, no matter what, you're trying to win that game regardless of if it's home field advantage or not for the World Series. But you're going to put the best players out there like you would your normal 25-man roster.
I mean, because you're appeasing the fan base for allowing them to go ahead and select the starters. I think fans should be allowed to select the starting pitcher too.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
The scary thing is that they could select someone that's not deserving of even being an All-Star if it becomes a popularity contest.
We've seen for the most part they're pretty good as far as picking the right team.
Absolutely. Chirinos drives one out to center. Trout racing back. He'll put it away. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Garrett Richards. 7 complete. Halos leading at 8-1.
We head into the 8th inning. Kent French back with you down on the field. And don't forget, following this game, myself and Jose Mota, we're going to break this one down on Angels Live postgame presented by your SoCal Mazda dealers. We'll talk about the Halos hit parade. 8 runs on 14 hits already. They had a 6-run second inning where they scored 5 times with 2 outs. We'll also discuss Garrett Richards' performance here tonight, his 5th consecutive quality start as we send it back upstairs into the booth. Hey, Gooby, question for you. What's impressed you the most about Garrett's performance here tonight?
Frenchie, I'll tell you what, I've loved his fastball. We talked about that as part of something he needed to do to get really back into that groove with his fastball. He's had a number of pitches, over 40, that have been 95 or more miles per hour with his fastball. That dominating fastball here tonight.
Yeah, Gooby, you're talking about him not being able to grip maybe that breaking ball in the last inning. Does heat have an effect on the way you grip a pitch, especially here in a ballpark like Arlington?
No question, because sliders and curveball, even changeup or field pitches, fastball, you just rear back and let it go and trust movement. I think that's why he's been successful, especially that last inning. He just dominated with his fastball.
Albert Pujols facing Neftali Feliz here in the 8th inning. Frenchie, we appreciate it, as always.
No, my pleasure, guys. How's the AC, by the way, up there?
It's fantastic.
Right,
you look really cool down there. You really do. Might need a little rosin bag for that forehead.
No problem. Brutal.
Pujols, high barn freeze for the Angels here in the 8th. Albert pops it up behind the plate. Chirinos puts it away for the first down. 1-for-4 game for Albert. New left fielder for Texas, Ryan Rua, takes over for Josh Hamilton. It's the only other change for Texas. Eric Ibar 4-for-4. 3 singles and a double. 2 runs batted in. Last 5-hit game for the Angels, Mark Trumbo, September 10th, 2013, at Toronto. Hit attack for the Angels tonight.
Another pretty good swing from Eric. Certainly he's had a lot of good ones in this game.
The Angels 6 for 16 with men in scoring position tonight. One. Back 1-2. No action in the Angels bench. It looks like Garrett coming back for the 8th. Top of the order due up for Texas, and Odor, Rosales, and Fielder.
Still focusing in there, Garrett. A lot of family and friends come down to see him from Oklahoma area for Richards.
Andrew Heaney's from Oklahoma City as well.
Good battle here for Ibar against Feliz. Some good swings also.
David Freese on deck. Two balls, 2 strikes. Houston, by the way, has battled back. They lead 8-7 now in the 8th. Ibar punching one toward third. That's going to go for an infield base hit. And there it is. A 5-hit game for Eric Ibar, first of his career.
And now it's time for our top tier play of the game, brought to you by Arco. Eric Ibar's 5 at-bats. We mentioned 5 hits for Eric Ibar. Coming back up the middle. It's going to double. And a couple more singles. There's good swings throughout. Turn on that one, got it through the hole. And this one, it's right down that third base line. That's when you're going good. And you can sense and smell that 5th hit. There's time for Eric Ibar.
Freese has had a 3-for-4 game.
We said he started to swing the bat well in the last homestand. We know his defense has been important, but so now is the bat for Eric Ibar.
Oh, 2 on the way now. Freese chops this one toward short. Alberto backs up, feeds Odor, the relay back in time, a double play. So we'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Top of the order coming up to face Garrett Richards with the Angels still on top. I want to remind you that the Angels will take on the Red Sox on July 18th. That's a 6:05 start that day, and fans in attendance will receive a Nitto Eco bag courtesy of Nitto Tire while supplies last. Get your tickets at the stadium box office, or you can do so online as well. A couple of defensive changes for the Angels. Former Ranger himself, Dan Robertson, out in left field. New third baseman is Taylor Featherston, taking over for David Freese, and a new first baseman, Efren Navarro, takes over for Albert. And all stays the same. Richards to face Odor, Rosales, and Fielder here in the 8th. 94 pitches for Garrett. First one low. Odor is 0 for 3. Strikeout and a couple of groundouts. One ball was struck. No side effects either for Garrett after getting that liner off the bat of Elvis Andrews in the 5th inning that got him in the right leg area, upper thigh. Ground ball to second, although I'm sure he's got a pretty colorful bruise on that leg. One down.
Moving well. He's had to cover first base a number of times today. A lot of ground ball action towards Giabatella.
just for show. Ramos and Salas. One of them might be pitching tonight. Rosales fouls it back.
12 ground ball outs for Richards tonight.
Which, when he's going good, is exactly what he is.
He is a ground ball pitcher who just happens to have stuff and get a strikeout, especially with his slider and his cut fastball.
6 punch outs, 1 walk tonight. Ball and a strike on Rosales. .233 average in 38 games, 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in. Ibar has it. 2 down. So here comes Fielder, who started the mini rally for Texas in the 6th inning with a 2-out double. He eventually scored on a single by Beltran.
Fielder up there at the plate. Last time, remember that the pitch he hit was an all-speed pitch. It was curveball or slider. See if he goes back to power fastball.
Just off the plate for ball 2.
Break a ball to get back into the count.
Line to center, a base hit. Trot over to cut it off. Does so. And for the 2nd straight time, Fielder with a 2-out hit. Beltran coming up.
Cuba now 7 for 16 against Richards.
Kind of odd, but going to go to the bullpen here. I'm sure Garrett would like to finish the 8th. So Fernando Salas will be called upon here. Pitching change with 2 outs in an 8-1 game. Angels on top. One run responsible for Fielder standing at first base. Overall, another fantastic outing for him.
Yeah, 70 strikes with 104 pitches thrown for Richards. So he had great stuff. and pitch deep in the game, which you want to see out of your starting staff.
Fernando Salas takes over here with 2 outs and a man at first to face Adrian Beltre. 1 for 3 tonight with an RBI single in the 6th.
Had an amazing career with the bat and with the glove.
Skies this one on the infield. Ibar calling for it. Hitting over. We will head to the 9th. Angels leading at 8-1.
Change for the Rangers. Now taking over the lefty, Detweiler, who we saw early in the season had some starts, 7 starts so far this year. ERA over 7 for the season, 0-5 mark. 7.26. Detweiler not overpowering with his fastball either. Had to sink it, maybe around that 87 to 92 range. Slider and a changeup, occasional curveball. Robertson will be leading off for the Halos in his first at bat of the game.
Robertson, Crone, and Perez, the scheduled 3 here in the 9th. Angels trying to start this road trip on a winning note. After a 6-3 homestand. Kicking off a 9-game road trip tonight. Robertson last year with Texas making his debut. Got traded to the Angels in the offseason. Gets jammed and fouls it back. Matt Joyce got the start in left. Finished the night going 0 for 3 with a walk. This one lifted out to center. One down. Neftali Feliz, by the way, went 2 innings. Gave up 1, checked at 2 hits, 1 strikeout. The rest zeros. Garrett Richards in line for his 9th win. Chichi Gonzalez would suffer the loss.
It's not that you want to see Garrett have one of those games in which he has a tough time getting out of a first inning, but last year you mentioned that. Did that in Oakland and went on a tremendous run before getting hurt at Fenway Park. Same thing here at a tough first inning. Is now 5 straight starts in which he's thrown the ball extremely well.
Yep. TJ Crone's had a 1-for-4 game. RBI single back in the second. In the hole here, 0-2. Mike Moore getting ready in the pen. There's Garrett. I'll go that front. And Andrew Heaney.
Heaney's thrown the ball very, very well in his 2 starts. Picked up his first major league victory the other day.
Crone goes down swinging for out number 2.
Catcher Carlos Perez.
So it's Carlos Perez coming to the plate. Carlos a 1-for-3 game. Been on board 3 times with a walk, an error by Chu in right field, and then a single.
Carlos did a very good job working with Garrett Richards tonight. As you know well, he's thrown in his last 5 games since that start in New York. 2.04 ERA for Richards since that game. I think he's telling Efren the same thing. You know what I've done the last 5 games? I've thrown the ball very well.
Broken bat, a little pop up on the infield. Rosales will let it bounce and flip it to Detweiler. They get the out, and the Angels go down in order. We'll head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Mike Moore's coming on in relief. 8-1 Angels. Eight to 1. Mike Moore on in relief. First appearance is being activated off the disabled list. A bleak strain put him on the shelf. 20 games this year, a 1-1 mark and a 6 ERA.
It's a big part of that bullpen last year for Mike Scioscia. Get back to get ahead with that fastball. Slider solid, but his changeup a plus pitch for Mike Moore. Back to that confidence, but above all, use the fastball to set up your changeup.
Scheduled to face Rua, Chu, and Alberto here in the 9th inning. Ryan Rua shooting one out to right field. This one taking Cole back to the wall, and that is gone. Rua with a solo shot the opposite way. Makes it 8-2.
Pitch got a lot of the plate. Rua goes the other way. That jet stream where the baseball carries so well that way.
Third home run of the season for Rua. Nothing Cole can do, and here's Shin-Soo Choo. Moore looks at a strike. Choo 1 for 3 with a double. One down.
Good all-speed pitch by Moore and kept it down. A ground ball out to Giavotella in this game. Seven ground ball outs at Giavotella today.
One 0 count on Alberto. 0 for 1 with a ground down. This one lifted down the line, not very deep. Long run for Ibar. 2 down.
Why not? Eric Ibar runs down that pop-up after a 5-hit performance from Eric tonight.
Center fielder,
So 2 outs, nobody on, and Leonis Martin stands in the way. The Angels picking up first win on this road trip. 0 for 2 tonight. They draw a walk in the second inning. Ground ball to second base. Giavotella has it. Light that baby up as the Angels take the first one tonight. 8-2 the final.
What a complete performance today for the Halos. Cole Calhoun, 4 RBI. A couple big doubles. 5-hit performance from Eric Ibar. Some solid hitting. Great defense once again. And some great pitching from Garrett Richardson. Bullpen finishes it off. But what a solid effort here. Talked about it in the opening. This club seemed to swing the bat very well here and has so in the last 2 years.
A big double with the bases loaded on a 3-2 pitch by Cole Calhoun. Opened it up in that second inning. The Angels tacked on some more runs, but if Cole doesn't get that knock and you leave it just a 1-0 lead, it changes that game completely.
You're right. He went with a fastball. We thought maybe he would throw a slider at some point, but back-to-back fastballs. The last one, a sinker that did not sink, and Cole made him pay for it.
9th win of the season for Garrett Richard. The Angels will see what happens in Houston. Might pick up a game. Otherwise, they will stay 5 back, and Texas will drop a game and a half back to the Angels. Eric Ibar with his first career 5-hit game. He's down on the field with Jose Mota.
Thank you, Victor. Well, it's a good place to hit, but certainly you've always said in this ballpark you got to concentrate a little bit more to hit line drives. Why is that?
Probably because every time I come here, it's big. You know what I mean? I say you hit the ball down, and so you hit over the short second base. It's probably you go 3 or 2. That's why every time when I come here, I focus more on line drive. I don't think of homers.
How about the team and the offense today? There's so many runs that you guys needed to kind of relax a little bit more. How big was that to do it early, too?
That's a big win, you know what I mean? Richard throw a good game. Everybody play the ball good. And tomorrow we'll try to do the same thing and see what happens tomorrow, okay?
Defensively, you have a big lead. For you, how do you keep everybody in tune to make sure they're playing this game like it's still 1-0 game?
Well, we always look afraid of, too, you know what I mean? Well, we're being tough on the coach and the infield, too, so everybody communication. And, you know, when somebody here can put the ball, we chip a little bit. And if it's not put, we straight.
Happy birthday, somebody?
Yeah, I want to say happy birthday to my daughter. I love you, Obama.
Gracias, kid.
Aye.
Big win for the Angels here to kick off this long road trip. And Angels Live coming up next, all presented by your SoCal and Mazda dealers. As Ken French will join us here on the field to break it all down.